1, 2. Check 1, 2. Attention in the barn. This is third and final call for Class 1 Berkshire Boars, Class 1 Duroc Boars, Class 1 Hampshire Boars, and Class 1 Hereford Boars. If you have a Berkshire, Duroc, Hampshire, or Hereford boar, please bring them to the holding area at this time. Check 1, 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're going to get started here with the 2025 edition of the Open Breeding Stock Show here at the North American. We are going to show all of our boars and then all of our gilts. We will make and announce sale results as those come along. We have two Berkshire Boar entries here. Alyssa Spielman of Taneytown, Maryland, 9-1, and the Tinsman family of Farmland, Indiana. We'll give you pedigree information as we work through those boars. We do want to welcome Mr. Chris Danner of Chalmers, Indiana, owner and operator of Purple Power, Boarstone, and Danner Livestock. Chris and his family, obviously no strangers to this business. Chris has been involved in this business his entire life. And again, Susan and Blake and Mallory there certainly do a great job. Also want to congratulate him on being a proud new grandfather, and we welcome here to the North American. Let's give Chris a nice round of applause and say thank you for judging the breeding stock here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Thank you, Clay. It's awesome to be down here in the green shavings, and to be very honest with you, a little skeptical of stepping in on the boar show, not knowing what the numbers are going to be like, and yet with that said, we got a pair of really nice Berkshires to lead off here and start this show. There is some age differences within this pair, and yet throw that aside, the one that my eyes gravitate to is the one that puts proportions together, elevation, the length of body, length of front end. I don't know that he's the longest tipped of this pair, and yet I do believe he's the one that brings the most assets, and that's the 9-1 boar. Really like that hog from the side. I like his elevation. He's spread in his chest and forearm. He's good in his muscularity. Really good boar to lead off with. Second place boar is another one. He's a big armed hog that's got an absolutely big barrel in him. We need to replicate that in the swine industry more, put bigger arm, bigger center rib within him. This hog, again, has a big back in him. I think this hog actually is a nickel longer strided, a little longer hipped, but he doesn't have as much elevation and look as what we have in our class winner. Congratulations, both high-quality Berkshire boars. Congratulations, both these exhibitors.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to Alyssa Spielman of Taneytown, Maryland. She's your champion Berkshire boar, 9-1, To the Moon Otter's Pocket. Reserve is 8-1 Tinsman family from Farmland, Indiana. That's an off-the-chain Yeti. If you have a Landrace, Poland, or Spot boar, let's begin easing them on up here. We're dropping in our Duroc boar, 20-1 from Alyssa Spielman of Maryland.
Congratulations to this young lady. A single entry that could actually handle some competition out here. We talk about it in the red breed as how much arm and center body cavity and the turn to that rib, and this one has A pluses on that in those categories, to be very honest with you. Very good hog. He's elevation, length of body match. He's a long strided type of a hog with good muscularity, a great look coming at you. Absolutely love the forearm and center rib that works within this one. Very high caliber pair of boars you let off here of the show. Young lady, congratulations to you.
Congratulations to Alyssa Spielman of Taneytown, Maryland's 20-1's your champion Duroc Boar. He's a throw-in stone, Scuba Steve. And next we'll drop in our Hampshire Boar. That's 25-1 from the Timsman family of Farmland, Indiana. Boar is sired by Example on a world-class sow. Attention in the barn. If you have a Landrace, Poland, Spot, or York Boar, let's go ahead and be bringing them to the holding area. We need those Landrace, Poland, Spot, and Yorkshire Boars to the holding area.
This 25-1 Hampshire Boar that we're going to have is single entry here is one that's a broad hog with great big bones about him, especially his rear leg. Like to clean his joints up ever so slightly. Honestly, for me, this hog could be slightly bigger in his skeleton, but what he's good, he's really good. He's a big armed hog. He's got some muscularity working down his back. Congratulations, this young lady.
Congratulations to the Tinsman family of Farmland, Indiana for having your champion Hampshire Boar at the North American. Again, that boar is an Example, world class. Do want to announce here, those of you open show exhibitors, Steve Mapes of Mapes Livestock Photography is located over here just by the far ring. Make sure to go back there and get your picture made and capture those memories from Mapes Livestock Photos. We'll now be showing Class 1 of Hereford Boars, and there's 2 Hereford Boars.
We got a pair of Hereford Boars out here, and both of them are a little bit, have some similarities, and we could tame down their skeletons and give them a little more angularity, to be very honest with you, from this judge's perspective. Boars that are very tall-shouldered, have nice look about them. Like to just give them both a little more stoutness of feature and a little more athleticism. We're going to lead off with the 30-1 Boar of this pair. He's the one that has the most foot and bone working within him. See a little more width from side to side of his skeleton of this pair. The next boar, the 24-1, real sharp looking, just need to give him more stoutness of feature to move him higher.
Congratulations to 30-1 Faith Fequa from Bloomington, Indiana. A Told You So standing room, and reserve is Kayliana Davis of Washington, Indiana with 24-1, another Told You So standing room. And next we'll exhibit our Landrace Boar. That's from Luke Vernon of Liberty, South Carolina. He's a Can't See Me, timing's right.
I assume this is a summer bred hog, and one that's got some sure athleticism about him, which we appreciate a great deal. His squareness to the ground is good. One that meets his frame score, his maturity type, all that goes together extremely well. I like this landrace boar to some degree here within the fact that he's sound, square. He's has a nice look about him. Congratulations to this young man.
Again, congratulations to Luke Vernon of Liberty, South Carolina. I can't see me, timing's right, winning champion landrace boar honors. Attention in the barn, if you have a spotted Yorkshire crossbred boar, let's go ahead and be bringing them to the holding area. If you have a spotted Yorkshire or crossbred boar, let's be bringing them to the holding area. Dropping in now is Class 1 Poland China boars. This is the Tinsman family from Farmland, Indiana. 44-1, a street race up in flames.
For those sitting around ringside, if you think that I'm just trying to rush through these, I promise that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm a reactionary. First time I seen my wife, I knew I was going to marry her. So if that gives you any indication of what my thoughts are, they're pretty quick. And I was right. 41 years we've been together. It's the best decision beyond the fact of believing in Christ that I've ever made. This is a very good Poland boar. He's a long-hipped hog that takes a long stride. He's got a big arm. High-quality boar that can handle some competition out here. Change one thing, I'd change the front feet ever so slightly, but that's nitpicking on one that has a very good running gear underneath. I like this hog quite well. Congratulations, 44-1's very good pig.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to the Tinsman family, champion Poland boar, a street race up in flames. Up next, we have Class 1 spotted boars. There's 3 entries. 57-1 is Cade Sharp of Marion, Indiana. 58-1 is A&W Genetics of Beardstown, Illinois. And 59-1 is Ashenfelter Spots, Kokomo, Indiana. Attention in the barn. If you have a Yorkshire crossbred boar, let's go ahead and bring them to the holding area. And if you have a Berkshire Gilt, let's go ahead and bring them to the holding area as well.
Three good spotted boars here within this drive, and we're going to lead off with the boar that's closest to me, the predominant white hog, 59-1. He's the one that you put the best angles, the squareness of dew claws on the backside of his skeleton, his length of stride, heaviness of structure, puts it together in a very uniform package. Really nice pig here to lead off with. Second, we're going to go with the boar over here to my left. From an angulation, length of hip, and athletic hind leg, guys, pay attention instead of a picture. Thank you. obviously active enough to want to get in and fight. When we view this hog in the top trio here of boars, one that takes a longer, looser stride, gets a little more hinged at there at these foot, pasture, and hawk than what we have in our third place boar. Absolutely thought this boar was coming right out of the gate. One that he's tall shouldered, really good chest, a big arm, got a monstrous big back. For me, I need to lengthen and let him hinge a little easier out of his back end to move this one higher. Front 2/3 killer, like change his back third a little.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to 59-1, Ashenfelter Spots, Kokomo, Indiana. That boar is a full pull Colossus. Reserve is Cade Sharp of Marion, Indiana, 57-1. That's a follow-through throwdown. And third is 58-1, A&W Genetics, Beardstown, Illinois, a Hidden Bones, only one. In next is our Yorkshire Boar entry, 76-1, Bradley Jager from Clarksville, Missouri, a Turbo, Why Not Us?
Individual entry again in the Yorkshire side here, and a very good pig in terms of putting elevation and length of body on the uniformity. A hog that's got a big arm. He's got a very descript back. Duclos sits straight off the backside of his rear legs. Still pretty good on his front feet. Once turned ever so slightly. He's even got an 87 underline 4 in front of the sheath on one side. If somebody's looking to see and improve teat quality on a Yorkshire, look in on this one. He does have a boar skull. I love the way his jaw sits within this one. He is a big armed hog with muscularity. Very quality Yorkshire boar here as an individual entry.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to 76-1, Bradley Jager of Clarksville, Missouri, on having your champion Yorkshire Boar. Again, a Turbo, Why Not Us? Attention to the barn, we need 105-1 for Class 1 crossbred boars. 105-1 for Class 1 crossbred boars. Lila Chambers. Again, we have 3 crossbred boars, and that will conclude our boar show. Attention to the barn, if you have a Berkshire Gilt, let's go ahead and bring them to the holding area. Class 1 and 2 Berkshire Gilts. Bring those to the holding area. We're now showing crossbred boars. Lila Chambers, we need your crossbred boar, 105-1. Lila Chambers, if you could let us know if you're planning on exhibiting your crossbred boar, please let us know.
and watching Jason and Chad judge junior division there. Chad was talking, and I actually talked to him after he did the crossbreds about. He said some words that were very, very important in our industry, and that's that we need to make better hogs. Just period. We don't need to reach and grab and not make them out there when they're just not good enough or this, that, or the other. And yet I can remember a statement I had or a conversation I had with Chuck Olson probably, I don't know, 15 years ago. So Chuck's older than me, and I'm old enough to be Jason and Chad's dad. And I have a respect for all of them. And the reason I'm telling this story is when you bring classes to the table, not always are they all perfect. And it makes difficult decisions, and you have to put and take and use pieces along the way. And I think that's breeding hogs. And, we don't always have to use the perfect one always. And yet there's some things that Chuck said, and I didn't finish with that. He said there's two things that always sell, butt and bone. And I will tell you, they sell. We need to add hair to that too, and good looks. So when we walk into this class, the one that's probably the least square from behind, and he's not very far off, but he's not dead perfect, and I don't want to criticize him because he's the best hog. And that's the young lady that came in last, the 105-1 here. By far the stoutest featured, the tall-shouldered, the good-looking hog, the proportions, his back shape, everything goes together really well. He sits him a nickel wide for this guy. Guess what? I have a boar or two at my house that sit a nickel wide too. And every once in a while, they just really kick out really, really good pigs. That's our class winner. From there, it got a little closer in my decision, whether you go after the one that is honestly one of the widest hogs that we've looked at. And until you get right up on him, I don't think that you notice and realize how wide this one is because it's deceiving. The young lady is going to be second in this class. That is an absolutely monstrous arm. Big, big rib, big back hog. I'd like to make him a nickel stouter for as big as his body cavity and back is. I'd like to make him a nickel stouter. He's a longer hinged hog. I appreciate that. His hind leg is squarer than our class winner. The black hog coming out here, I want to make his jaw nickel stouter to be to go up there. I think this one's a really good, complete hog that just puts together a lot of positives. I want to make him a nickel stouter jawed, a nickel stouter right at the ground. He looks like an awesome, awesome bearer for me. Congratulations, these exhibitors.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to Lila Chambers of Indiana, having your champion crossbred boar. He's a wide awake on a right one. Reserve is the Tinsman family of Farmland, Indiana with 106-1, a wide awake roll call. And third is 108-1, Colton Ball of Peebles, Ohio, a wake-up call misconception. All boars will be offered for sale tomorrow. The sale will start approximately an hour after showmanship or at 2 o'clock. We'll make those announcements. It will happen tomorrow afternoon. Every boar will be offered in the sale tomorrow. So again, if you're looking for details, visit with Roy Flock or Ryan Michael about sale details tomorrow. But again, all boars will be offered in the sale. This is Class 1 Berkshire Gilts. We have two classes of Berkshire Gilts. In Class 1, we have three entries. We have 1-1 from the Kite Family Show Pigs, 2-1 from Gunnar Kendrick of Dayton, Ohio, and 4-1 Logan Blair of Springfield, Ohio. Again, this is Class 1 Berkshire Gilts. Tension in the barn. We need Class 2 Berkshire Gilts, Class 2 Berkshire Gilts. Also, if you have Class 1 Chester Gilts, go ahead and bring that Chester Gilt entry as well.
smaller number class, high-end quality individual that's going to lead off this class, and a young lady, 4-1. She said she's 7 years old. I think she's doing an absolutely awesome job with a really, really good gilt. This is the square stout featured one with a tremendously good look. She balances and squares and puts everything into proportions that we like. This one's got muscle, she's got width, she's got bone. This is a very high caliber female. Then it gets down to a couple of them that we'd like to change just a little from behind, to be very honest with you. From hip forward, though, my second favorite one within this particular group is 2-1, a gilt that tremendously good coming right out of the gate. I would change her a little bit as she goes away from you, but one that the front 2/3 of that is extremely good. We're going to go with one that appears like she had an injury to conclude here in the class. Another one that's still very good looking, not quite as stout in her feature as what we have in the second place individual. Class winner, absolutely a bomb, and two gilts that we'd like to make a nickel stouter featured.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to Logan Blair of Springfield, Ohio, winning class number 1 Berkshire Gilts. That's 4-1. Gilt is sired by Ready or Not on an Ever Ready sow. Second is 2-1, Genner Kendrick of Dayton, Ohio, sired by the Bolter on a Beast. And third was 1-1, Kite Family Show Pigs, a Dugout Top Secret. Sila Bogus, we need 5-1. Sila Bogus, we need 5-1 for Class 2 Berkshire Gilts. We also need our Class 1 Chester Gilt, and if you have a Duroc Gilt, let's go ahead and bring them to the holding area as well. So we need Class 1 Chester Gilts. And Classes 1 and 2 Duroc Gilts. Attention the barn, if you're missing a glitter belt, a sippy cup, or the green paint brands, please come and bring those to the open show announcer stand. Again, if you're missing items, please come and find us with the lost and found at the announcer stand. Thank you.
Three really good Berkshire Gilts here, and yet there's one that her undergear or her running gear is the one that hits this judge the most favorable. She's a square sneed, squares coming right at you. She's still bold chested. She's got the most athletic hind leg about her. Yeah, does she have a little slope to her hip? That just tells me they should probably have her pigs with a little more ease. When you get up on top of this one, she's got a monstrously big back. 6-1's going to be her class winner. Young man's got second here within this class, and I'd like to honestly, I like this gilt tremendously a whole lot. I'd like to hinge her, let her relax her rear feet. That's one of those things that is a criteria around our house. We run a lot of females in a group, and I'll just tell you, if they're not really good there, they struggle pretty hard there at home, just having the maintenance. In an individual setting or a little less, that one puts a lot of positives, and I promise there's some Berkshire boars out here have enough flexibility to the rear feet right now. That one can make something very, very nice for somebody. 6-1's another one that's extremely good. Not quite as stout and heavy duty, with a little more look though than our gilt that we just go ahead of her. She's still a long strided one. She's the narrowest gauged of these three gilts is at the ground the way I see them. Three high quality gilts. I rank them in the way she goes third because I'd like to open her at the ground as she comes and goes just slightly.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to Emerson Taji of Buffalo Lake, Minnesota for winning Class 2. Second is Jace Ellis of Milton, Delaware. And third is Sila Bogus 5-1. Will now be driving for champion Berkshire Gilt honors. Winning class number 1 is Logan Blair from Springfield, Ohio. Paint brand is 4-1. Gilt is sired by Ready or Not and farrowed on the second day of April. And winning just completed class number 2 is Emerson Taji of Buffalo Lake, Minnesota. Gilt is sired by Off the Chain on a Top Shelf and farrowed on the first day of March. Let's give these two gilts competing for champion Berkshire honors a nice round of applause.
Two high quality females, winter classes here. I know we're not big in numbers, and yet both these gilts are extremely good. One hit me just a little harder, honestly, when she came out in class. She puts that foot, bone, hair, good look together for me. 4-1 is going to be our champion.
Congratulations to Logan Blair of Springfield, Ohio, having your champion Berkshire. That allows Gunnar Kendrick of Dayton, Ohio to drop in for reserve contention.
We bring out our second place gilt, and front 2/3 of hers extremely good. And yeah, for me, this is a pretty easy placing 1, 2, 3, 4 type of scenario for Chris, and 6-1 is going to be reserved. That's the next square, really correct built type one, one that's very high quality. Congratulations, young lady.
Congratulations to 6-1 Emerson Tachi from Buffalo Lake, Minnesota, being reserve champion Berkshire Gilt. And next we'll have a single entry Chester, and if you've got a Duroc Gilt, let's go ahead and have those on deck for classes 1 and 2.
Single entry Chester here, and we have a few of these type of sows around the house, and I would tell you this one's very high quality. She's square coming out of the gate. She stays square. Dew claws are square going off the back side of her body. She's got a high quality underline, which isn't always the easiest in this breed. Literally, if you jerk her neck out ever so slightly, man, this one can handle lots and lots of competition. I like her length of front end still. I like her length of body, and I really love her hip length. This one's a high quality one, needs to change ownerships for somebody that's looking to improve Chesters. She has great muscularity. I think that one's high quality. Congratulations to that young lady.
Congratulations to Campbell Thomas, 11-1 from Republic, Missouri. Boar sired by Kansas Jack on a WD-40 sow, farrowed on the first day of March. Up next is Class 1 Duroc Gilts. Attention in the barn, if you have a Hampshire, Landrace, or Hereford Gilt, let's go ahead and bring those to the holding area. Again, if you have a Hampshire, Hereford, or Landrace Gilt, let's bring those to the holding area.
there may only be a pair of them, and yet we can discuss and cuss this pair a little bit. One's a nickel stouter, one's a little smoother in the design at early on in her career here. The one that's a little stouter, I think, is the boldest chested, the biggest arms. She does have the most muscularity about her. I'd just fix in her ham loin, and she's not quite as hooked up as good up front. If I'm how I judge them is how I'd have my kids show them, or how I'd take them home to breed them, is how I judge hogs. I think that we can change something about it. Each one, I'd like to make this gilt a nickel stouter featured. I think she's flawless in her design from the side. She's still square and correct there. I don't believe she's quite as bold, not quite as muscular, not quite as heavy bone. We're going to use the heavier structured, heavier muscle hog gilt here to lead off this class. The really good design one here is going to be second. It's a very, very close placing. Congratulations, both these exhibitors.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to 12-1, Dennis Even family. 2-6 is her ear notch, is a trunks last step. Second is 13-1, also from Dennis Even family. 1-1 is the ear notch, also sired by trunks on a statement day sow. And next, we'll have class number 2 Duroc Gilts, and we have 3 entries. Attention in the barn, if you have a Hampshire, Hereford, or Landrace gilt, let's go ahead and bring them to the holding area. A Hampshire, Hereford, or Landrace gilt, let's bring them to the holding area.
Eight, 18-1 is going to lead this class. This one, when you get off to the side of her, you get in front of her, you get behind her, she wins this class for me. One that's appropriate in length of body, or her length of front end, her length of body, and her length of hip all match and go in harmony. She is a stronger footed one of the two more robust type females sitting out here. I like this 18-1 quite well. 16-1 is going to be second here in the class. I like the flexibility and the movement to her hind leg quite well. She's still a good chested, big arm type of female with some muscularity. She's got a real feminine face about her and some length of front end. I'd like to strengthen her front pasterns ever so slightly to give her an advantage because of being long fronted and real feminine. I need to strengthen those front pasterns ever so slightly. The young man that's going to conclude here within this class has still got a muscular type of female that takes an extremely long stride. She's like to make her nickel square hitting the ground just as we see this one in comparison to that top pair. She still has a bold arm. She still has some muscularity. Real high caliber female in terms of length of stride. Like that about her.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to 18-1, Estella Gover of Manchester, Maryland. Gilt is sired by ATM on a whip and spur sow. Second is Genevieve Palinci from Richlands, North Carolina. That's a Dagger main man. And third is Dennis Even family of Scottsburg, Indiana, with a trunks boot cut. Now be showing for Champion Duroc Gilt Honors. Winning class number 1 is 12-1, Dennis Even family of Scottsburg, Indiana. Gilt is sired by trunks on a less step sow and farrowed on the 4th day of June. And winning just completed class number 2 is 18-1, Estella Gover of Manchester, Maryland. Gilt is sired by ATM 52-1 on a whip and spur sow and farrowed on the 10th day of February. Ladies and gentlemen, these gilts are competing for Champion Duroc Gilt Honors. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
If you want to know what I said to the young lady, I said if nothing else, she needs to be awarded the honor of having the best presented one in the breed for sure, and maybe what we've seen today. The skin and hair on this one is absolutely fitted to a T. I appreciate that because that means she's used a brush more than likely, or she just got real lucky on one that likes to have good skin and hair. There is value on that when you go to buy, but when you go to buy one, put the rest of it that goes together. This one's high caliber for this judge. She wins pretty handily.
Congratulations to Stella Gover on having your champion Duroc Gilt. That allows Genevieve Palinci of Richlands, North Carolina to drop out for reserve contention.
We got a pair of gilts. They're both have a lot of positives working about them. Both of them are long enough strided. One's a little square-kneed, very shapely for size, and the one that I prefer, young lady with the smallest gilt here, is going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Dennis Even, family of Scottsburg, Indiana, for having reserved champion Duroc Gilt. That's 2-6, again sired by Trunks on a last step sow. All right, and next we'll have our Hampshire Gilt class. We have two entries, 22-1 and 23-1.
Pair of really nice Hampshire gilts out here, and we're contrasting types a little bit. One's a nickel stouter, got a little more shape working with thinner. She is the shorter hipped of the pair of gilts. She does possess a lot of really good things. We have one that's a little longer hipped and really free and easy in her joints. She's not as stout featured. She is a month younger as well, but I think it's really close because you can make decisions, and we ferrule both types of these. I like the length of hip in the one, but I also really, really appreciate the stouter feature, very shapely one. It's close, guys, between this pair. This judge prefers 23-1 first, 22-1 second.
Congratulations to Emma Pulsini from Richlands, North Carolina, 23-1, having champion Hampshire Gilt. A gilt is sired by her Arrowhead on an exclamation sow. Reserve is Garrett and Tyler Crowder of Attica, Indiana, 22-1. It's an exclamation Viper, farrowed on the 15th day of March. And next, we've got our Hereford Gilt entry. That is 27-1, Faith Fakwa from Bloomington, Indiana.
Single entry Hereford here, one that gets out and strides across the ring pretty good. She's a deep-chested gilt that has that body cavity working from front to rear. One that you can maybe make a little more athletic from behind, but she's still got some length of stride on both ends. One that has a tremendous body cavity. Congratulations to this young lady.
Congratulations to Faith Fakwa for having your champion Hereford Gilt. I told you so. Standing room only, farrowed on the 6th day of April. We're now ready to show Class 1 landrace gilts. Attention in the barn. If you have a Poland China gilt, let's go ahead and bring them to the holding area. Again, if you have a Poland China gilt, let's bring them to the holding area.
Got a really good set of landrace out here, and within that, a pair of them surface the top, and they're somewhat contrasting again. One's real stout featured. I'd like to switch her up just a nickel coming right at you at her knee, but I think everywhere else she needs to win the class, and that's 35-1. The little girl with the flowered up shirt has. 34-1, young man likes his type. I mean, and I appreciate that. Another long-hipped, really correct type of a female, not as stout-featured, and make that an emphasis, young man, because the design that you're putting in your hogs is very, very good. She goes second. Nice job, young lady. In third out here, to be very honest with you, we're going to switch up and go small on us because I think structure-wise, young lady over here in the corner's got the next square built, longer, looser hip hog within this group. One that I think is very, very, very good in terms of a look or squareness or mobility. I like that extremely well. This gilt's really good coming right at you. She wants to paddle and push a little from behind more than I appreciate. She is the high-volumed gilt here, potentially the second heaviest bone within the drive. I'd like to correct her just ever so slightly from behind to move that one higher.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to Corinne Hetver of Granite Falls, Minnesota, winning your landrace gilt honors. That's a high and tight on a high heat. Second is Garrett and Tyler Crowder, and also reserve honors of Attica, Indiana, 34-1. Third is Josie Boyer of North Salem, Indiana, 33-1, a Pay Your Bills high heat. And fourth is Kelsey Clapp of DePauw, Indiana, a Can't See Me inside track, If you're following along in your program from the top down, 3, 2, 1, 4. We're now showing Class 1 Poland Gilts. For those following along in their program and ring assistance, 38-1 is a scratch. So we have all 3 Poland Gilts. 38-1 is a scratch. Attention in the barn, if you have a spot gilt in classes 1 or 2, let's go ahead and begin bringing them up to the holding area. Spot gilts, we need those in the holding area.
In this trio of Polands, we're going to contrast just a little what I've talked about in the last 2 breeds. I'm not using the stoutest featured one because this one's more flexible at the ground for foot and rear pastern. She is the design gilt here within the class. Like I said, she's not the heaviest structured here one, but she is the best one from a standpoint of still square. She puts together a really good design. Her hind leg's the best. 40-1's our class winner. 41-1's going to go 2 here. I'd like to change her ever so slightly, coming right at me. More importantly, I'd like to relax her rear feet, but that is the stout featured one within this drive. She is the bold-chested, big arm, big backed one. I need to flex her a little better off of both ends. We're going to go ahead and finish with one that's nickel straight on both ends for me. Not quite as out flaring, but this one from the side is absolutely immaculate and being long fronted. Still long body, long hip. I want to make that in a nickel statter and a little more free.
Thank you, Chris, and congratulations to 40-1 Kennedy Swigert of Troy, Ohio. That gilt is sired by Head Start on a Snoopy. Reserve and second place honors is Jace Ellis, of Milton, Delaware, 41-1, an Antidote Quick Trigger. And third in class is 42-1, Kennedy Swigert from Troy, Ohio. If you're following along in your program from the top down, scratch 1, 2, 3. We're now ready for Class 1 spotted gilts. 45-1, Roy, is a scratch. So we're 45-1 is a scratch. So we should have 4 entries in class number 1. Attention in the barn, we need Class 2 spotted gilts and Class 1 Tamworth gilts to the holding area. Class 2 spotted gilts and Class 1 Tamworth gilts.
this class spotted gilts. We're going to lead off with the one that's the squarest and most angular about her skeleton. That's the 48-1 gilt, one that I think puts together a really nice pattern. Best off is that she gets out here and she stays pretty square and takes a long stride on both ends of her skeleton. Not being the easiest to show. That one's got a lot of her percentages go well together in terms of length of front end, length of body, and length of hip. Second, we're going to go off second with this young man right here in front of us. I think the front 2/3 of that one's really, really good. Yeah, I'd like to change a hind leg on her and make that thing hit square to the ground. I'll be the first to tell you that. Front 2/3 of it is very, very good. I think she's second best within the class. 47-1 is going to be number 3. From this viewpoint, I like that one quite well. And when we get behind her, she wants to taper in a little bit, get a little straighter off of her hind leg right there at her foot pattern. Not quite as square and put as much surface to the ground on her hind foot. But front 2/3 of that one's extremely good as well. We're going to conclude with the 50-1 gilt. She is the stouter featured, bold, hairy one within the class. Need to make her a little longer hipped and a little more angulation in her skeleton.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to 48-1, Chase and Chip Farr, Royal Center, Indiana. That's a newspaper on a mattress pad. Second, 49-1, a Littermate 9-8 from Chase and Chip Farr. Third is 47-1, another Littermate 9-6, a newspaper mattress pad from Chase and Chip Farr. And fourth is 50-1, Charlotte Lehman of Remington, Indiana. Following along in your program from the top down, scratch 3, 1, 2, 4. This is Class 2 spotted gilts. 51-1 is also a scratch. So we should have 5 gilts in class number 2 spotted gilts. Attention in the barn. If you have a Tamworth gilt or a Yorkshire gilt, let's go ahead and be bringing them to the holding area. Tamworth or Yorkshire gilts. Let's bring them to the holding area.
This class puts some challenges together. Just get out here and try to stay with some consistency of what you like. And yet I think we come back to one that just needs to win the class, and that's the 54-1 gilt. Her skeleton's the most comfortable. Is she the longest and prettiest fronted gilt within the class? No, but she's the broad, dense one that gets out here and it keeps her feet flexible at the ground. She's the widest at the ground. She's a big arm, big bodied gilt that's got a lot of muscularity. Frame score is very, very appropriate. Like that gilt quite well. We're going to go a little bigger, not quite as fluffy on the second place gilt here in this class, and that's 53-1. And when you judge them at the ground, I think that one has to go second for this judge. She comes at you still square. She takes a pretty long stride. She is bulky and fluffy in the center portion of her body. Believe it or not, I was skinny one day in my life, so we're all good there. Third place, we're going to go with the young lady in the corner down here at the flowers. Sure, I'd like to change that one ever so slightly, going away from you. But one, I really, really appreciate that front 2/3 of her skeleton. Very square, big arm type of gilt, real good chested. Like to get fix her a little behind. 52-1, the bulky, big bodied particular gilt here. One that, for me, she's a little over-conditioned. Her drapes don't match the carpet, if you want to say it that way. She needs to be stouter featured for the amount of fluff she has. But I do appreciate the fact that she can do that. I need to make those two match a little bit. We're going to conclude with the young man right here. This is the powerful, muscular gilt within the class. She's also a little shorter hipped, a little slower in her movement out here in terms of length of stride. Congratulations to these spotted exhibitors.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to 54-1 Emerson Taji of Buffalo, Minnesota, winning class number 2. Second is Estella Grover of Millers, Maryland, 53-1. Third is 55-1 Corinne Hetber, that's a Limitless Big Daddy. Fourth is 52-1 Ashenfelter Spots and Show Pigs of Kokomo, Indiana, a Big Daddy on a party animal. And fifth is Cooper Kidwell of Mount Gilead, Ohio, 56-1, a Houdini Speak Up. Following along your program from the top down, scratch, 4, 2, 1, 3, 5. We're now showing for Champion Spotted Gilt Honors. Winning class number 1 is 48-1 Chase and Chip Farr of Royal Center, Indiana. That's a newspaper mattress pad farrowed on the first day of June. And winning just completed class number 2 is Emerson Taji of Buffalo Lake, Minnesota, 54-1. It's a Houdini on a Commander farrowed on the 10th day of February. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for these folks competing for Champion Spot Gilt Honors.
I don't know what the age spread is in this pair of gilts. We got one that's definitely still on her way up, and got one that's ready to go the sow lot potentially here, it looks like. And I think that we have a very nice pair of them. Excuse me. One's got a little longer front end about her. She's still square in her skeleton. She gives me a little more of a presentable show ring look, in my opinion. I think that this one wins quite handily, even though I still like the other gilt quite well. 48-1 is going to be our champion.
Congratulations to Chase and Chip Farr from Royal Center, Indiana, dropping in 48-1 for champion. That allows 49-1 Chase and Chip Farr, that was second in class number 1 for reserve contention.
We bring out that second place gilt, and one that I talked about being very good in her front 2/3. Like change her a little as she goes away from you. Not quite as tangled up there, in my opinion. We're going to switch up and go with the bigger gilt because I like her undercarriage a lot better in terms of staying square and more flexible. The heavier or older gilt here is going to be our reserve.
Congratulations to Emerson Taji of Buffalo Lake, Minnesota, a Houdini Commander, being reserve champion spot gilt. Again, every gilt has made the sale thus far, so we'll put that sale order together tomorrow. Sale will start at approximately 2 o'clock. And next is our Tamworth gilt entry from Owen Smith of New Vienna, Ohio. Attention in the barn, if you have a Yorkshire gilt, you need to be in the holding area. And if you have a crossbred gilt in class number 1, let's go ahead and bring them to the holding area as well.
Single TM entry, and to be honest with you, young man, you can handle a lot of competition with this one. Takes a lot for a family to bring one out of this quality and say that she's being presented out here to the open public. This one's just high quality stock. I love the hip and hind leg that sits within this one. She's still a tall shoulder gilt that's got some width and broadness about her. She takes a long, easy stride. She's muscular, big ribbed. Very, very high caliber Tamworth. One of the very best ones we've seen here today. one of the better tam gilts I've seen as well. That's very high caliber stock.
Congratulations to Owen Smith of New Vienna, Ohio, winning champion Tamworth Gilt. This gilt is sired by Dynasty 92-2 on a Build Back Better. Up next, we've got our class of Yorkshire Gilts. We have 5 entries in Class 1 of Yorkshire Gilts. And again, if you have a crossbred gilt in Class number 1, let's go ahead and be bringing them on up to the holding area. Attention the barn. If you have a crossbred in Class 1 crossbreds, need them to the holding area. If you're in Class 2, you need to be on deck.
This one of those classes that has every contrasting type out here, and regardless how you place them, somebody along the ringside is going to tell you you did it wrong, and that's okay with me. I've been wrong before, and yet I'll just tell you what I see and how I like them. When we get into it and you literally study squareness and running gear within the class, and there's a month difference, I didn't even ask which one's the oldest, which one's the youngest, because realistically for me, there's one that's just hey, she has the highest quality running gear for me and the best proportions of body type and kind, and she's the most immature. She looks the youngest. I don't know if it's right or wrong. We're going to lead off with 67-1. She's the one that if I take them home, breed one, I can do a lot with that one, particularly in my herd. To be honest with you, then it was I kept coming back to her and say, this is one we got to lead off with and then go from there. Excuse me. Then it got closer and harder because there's a couple of very unique ones, and then we have two big skeleton ones, and the old man still likes some size and scale in them as well. And yet I would tell you that when I think Jason's the one that said something about just showing them the way you like them yourself. And so to be honest with you, the 73-1, if I'm showing that one and I'm not towards the top, she has some soreness to her front feet. My guess is when you get her home, you take a little TLC to her, get her out of some feed bucket. That one there, if I brought her to a show and she's hitting on all cylinders and I'm not towards the top, all I'm doing is putting a sale order together. I could see a lot of people liking this one better than the one that I used to win the class with, and I'm way okay with that because beyond her front feet, I think that thing's very, very, very unique in her looking kind. Then we're going to go with we're going to moderation or not moderation, a bigger outline is what we're going to do. The better faced one of that pair for me is the young man's Gilt right here. Length of body, length of hip, length of front end. She looks like an old type of Yorkshire brood sow here. I could lengthen her stride just a nickel compared to our Gilt that we're going to go out second with. I just like that one's face and uniformity of frame score a little better. The real big Gilt's going to go fourth here within this class, and she truly is the old style Yorkshire female for me. That one there is long, long bodied. She gets a little chuffier about her front end, but if you want to talk about what old York sows look like, I remember a boar that Rotoballs had years and years and years ago. It seems like at this point called Mr. Big, and he'd make that Gilt look short-sighted, to be honest with you. So maybe we need to get back to that with our industry, and we wouldn't be showing 10, 11, 12-month-old hogs. So with that being the case, young man, I've walked you quite a little bit, but when you came in, she was the shortest strided one within this group. That's the reason that we go out here in the fifth hole. If this is your type, don't let this judge affect your decisions. I truly appreciate how stout she is. I like her frame score for making barrows, and I know I just talked about making some of them bigger. Don't let this judge affect your buying of that one right there because of where I placed her in this particular class.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to Jace Ellis of Milton, Delaware, winning Class 1 Yorkshire Gilts and champion York Gilt honors with 67-1. She's a Castaway self-made. Reserve in second place is Anna Higbee of Kansas. That's a hitless glide. Third is Luke Vernon of Liberty, South Carolina, a King Me Impulse from farrowed on the 22nd day of February. Fourth is Adelie Gruden of Parrington, Michigan, an Empire Tycoon. And fifth is Jake Whitefield of Tooga, Georgia. Jake Whitfield is fifth, 71-1, an automatic landmine. If you're following along in the program from the top down, 1, 5, 3, 2, 4. We're going to flip over to the catalog. We've got 3 classes of crossbred gilts. This is Class 1 crossbred gilts. We have 4 entries. 89-1 is a scratch.
We're going to start with this 101-1 Gilt. I think she wins this class pretty handily. She comes in off the gate, not had a clipper on her, it looks like, and yet looks very youthful. Everything fits appropriately. She's a square strided hog out here. She's very long and loose in her structure, especially within this appropriate class here. I like her length and measurements, front end, body cavity, and length of hip and proportions. Good square-chested, muscular type of gilt that has some athleticism about her. Second, we're going to go with the young man's belted gilt coming right at me. A big chested gilt, a great big arm gilt. Could we change her ever so slightly behind? But she's the next squarest one going away from you that has some stoutness about her. I really appreciate that. That one's got a monstrous back coming right back out of her blade. She's very, very shapely. She's level down her back. She's tall at the point of her shoulder. I like that one quite well. It gets closer for third. We got one that's a powerhouse in terms of foot and bone, like to square going away from you. Got one over here that like to stouten her jaw just a little bit, stays the nickel square. I think it's a flip of a coin. One that's already there that's a little more powerful is the 84-1. We need to reconstruct her from behind just ever so slightly, but appreciate the width, the mass in her arm or blade, body cavity. We need to square that one from behind. Young man's gilt that's coming out here. Hopefully she's young, or young lady, excuse me. As you can tell how much I've been looking up, right? So one that I really appreciate her look, her design, just needs stouting that one ever so slightly for this judge.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to 101-1, Brooke Brown of Ohio, winning class number 1. Second is 77-1, Guy Kroll. Third is Lila Chamber of Indiana with 84-1. And fourth is 80-1, Lydia Durst of Ohio. If you're following along in your program from the top down, 2, 4, 3, scratch, 1. This is class number 2, crossbred gilts. 81-1 and 85-1 are scratches, so we have 4 entries in class number 2, crossbred gilts. Excuse me, 81-1 is not a scratch, 85-1 is a scratch. Attention in the barn, if you have a crossbred gilt in class number 3, we need him to the holding area. Crossbred gilt, class number 3.
this class, we have some varying types. We've got a couple of gilts I want to get out here and float, to be honest with you, in comparison to the other three, in my opinion. And they put it together and put an elevation, length of body, look, and some athleticism all in a harmony. That's the white belted gilt down there, and the young man that's got some paint there bleeding on it down into the white. I think that pair need to get towards the top end of things, personally speaking. The gilt that I appreciate probably the best here within this pair is one that I'm a big presentation fan, and I think that that's very, very important. She's not quite as good at her hawk width in comparison as the other gilt. I do love the presentation of the extra white, and that young man on the far side is going to have our class winner, and this one's going to be second. That pair is the most athletic, the squarest in the bill. Very, very good pigs in my opinion. The gilt that's going to go in third, I want to elevate her just a little. She starts to get a little rounder through her hip for me. She wants to, but she is the most shapely one out here. She's the heaviest boned one within this particular group as well. Gets a little crusher neck, but there's a lot of gilt there within this drive. We're going to go fourth with the all black gilt here. I think even though her front feet hurt, she is a little longer strided, in my opinion, on both ends of her skeleton. Her shoulder lays back in her a little better. She is a stout featured one. I think there's a lot of good in her. Front feet hurt just a little. The calico color gilt is highly presented, is very sharp coming out of the gate. That's a big chest, a big arm gilt. We literally got to lay her shoulder back in her, lengthen, and allow her hind leg to flow a little easier to move this higher within the drive. Congratulations, these exhibitors.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to Caleb Colopy, 87-1, winning class number 2. Second is Nick Arkanu from Kentucky with 98-1. Third is Kennedy Swigert of Ohio with 78-1. Fourth is Marissa Vanderkamp with 91-1. And fifth is 81-1, Isabella Skaggs from Ohio. If you're following along in your program from the top down, 3, 5, 1, 4, 2. 85-1 is the scratch. So again, if you're following along, 3, 5, scratch, 1, 4, 2. This is our third and final class of crossbred gilts. If you were first and second in classes 1 or 2, let's go ahead and be making our way up for champion selection of our crossbred gilts. Also, if you're following along in your program, 88-1, Olivia Unkamp from Minnesota. The bottom side of that pedigree is actually a Sunrise. So scratch that and make that correction where it says Morgan Sow and include Sunrise.
Real good crossbreds here, or class of crossbreds here. We're leading off with the young lady's Gilt, the one that has some length and extension in front of her blades. She has some uniformity in her body wall and type. She's big in her foot and bones. She flexes in her joints. One that's got some muscle working down her back line. Her head says maybe I've been around a day or two, but I'm okay with the fact that this one is still very high quality stock. I'd be happy to drive that one. The young man coming next, a little broader and stouter through the front forearm than what she does as you get back into her flank, a little deeper in her forerib than she is back there. But this is the second best one. She is easily the big arm, square-chested one with a big hind leg. I don't think she's as fluid as her class winner, not quite as long-hipped in my opinion, but I think that one's still a high caliber female in terms of putting together foot, bones, some width and mass, very shapely down her top, still a great big arm. I'd like to make her more uniform in her body wall. The third place Gilt, literally between 3 and 4, is I looked at foot, bone, width, muscle, and that separated these two. This is a stouter feature, more shapely, bigger arm Gilt. She's still got a high caliber underline working about her, one that's got a lot of muscle and yet handles it pretty well. The Gilt coming out next isn't quite as broad, but he's still a square-chested one. I like this type to sit into the sow lot. She's not quite as durable at her foot and bone work as what we have in the Gilt that's third, but it's still one that's a big arm, big center body. She's not quite as shapely, not quite as just much hog as what we have in the Gilt just ahead of her. Gilt coming out next is, if you like moderation, this one's got some neat pieces. A lot of bend to her hind leg. She's very good in her arm. There could be a lot of people tell you that I have this one too low. Simply for this judge, I want to make her nickel bigger. The Gilt that's coming out, the blue one here, front 2/3 is really nice. I like to change her ever so slightly in that statement at her knee cavity there. A big arm Gilt is very good. I think the her going away is not quite as square and correct as what we have in a couple of them above. The Poland's going to go ahead of the red one. We see her as more uniform in her width and with depth of body out here. She's still very good in terms of her feet and legs. I like that uniformity of body wall and type in comparison to the red one. The red one's a bigger scaled hog that you appreciate her athleticism. We just need more of her.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to Kennedy Swigert of Ohio, winning class number 3 with 79-1. Second is Garrett Hutchinson with 86-1. Third is Olivia Unkamp from Minnesota, 88-1. Fourth is Gunnar Kendrick, 92-1. Fifth is Ty Allen, 102-1. Sixth is Jace Ellis of Milton, Delaware, 95-1. Seventh is Kayla Bunch of Spavinaw, Oklahoma with 43-1. And eighth is 19-1 Tiffany Clapp of DePauw, Indiana. If you're following along in your program from the top down, 8, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5. Every crossbred Gilt has made the sale. At this time, we're ready to tie into our Grand and Reserve Champion Crossbred Gilts at the 2025 North American International Livestock Exposition. Winning class number 1 is 101-1, Brooke Brown of Ohio. Coming out of class number 2 is Caleb Colopy of Ohio, 87-1 is the paint brand. Pedigree reads McGuire, no huddle. And winning just completed class number 3, Crossbred Gilts, Kennedy Swigert of Ohio, a money line, Believe in Me. And again, these 3 Gilts are competing for Champion Crossbred Gilt honors at the 2025 North American Breeding Gilt Show. Here's Chris.
In picking our champion crossbred Gilt, I'll save some words of thanks here in a second, but I think it's pretty cut and dry which one just absolutely needs to win here. We got one that's, she demands your attention and she says, I'm ready for a breeding lot. I wouldn't be afraid to go ahead and put semen in this one pretty soon. I'm okay with breeding some of these things a little earlier than others, and yet due to our isolation, we get them a little older than what I like sometimes. So This one's stout. She's good looking. I think she has been around a while, but she is the best one, young lady. You have our champion.
Congratulations to Kennedy Swigert for having your champion crossbred gilt honors at the 2025 North American International Livestock Expo. That allows Garrett Hutchinson, 86-1, to drop in for reserve contention.
Before we select our reserve champion out here, Paige Dupin, when she gave me a telephone call and invited me to come judge, anytime you get a chance to step on these green shavings, you don't want to ever say no. And to be honest with you, I kind of needed to look at her farrowing schedule to make sure, because I knew my son was not going to be home. And I didn't think that his wife was ready to take over the farrowing house quite yet with the little guy. So long story short, I needed to check with that and got back with her, and thank you for this opportunity. For those that think I went too fast, I'm not going to apologize. For those that think I did it wrong, I'm not going to apologize. I like the hogs I used. Not every one of them, to be honest with you, but I think they're the best ones that we had to use out here. I want to challenge all of us. I did this at Indiana when I got the opportunity to get to Mike, and I'm 62. I'm old enough to be a lot of guys' dad, grandpa, whatever. And our industry needs help. And it's not necessarily just because of our leadership. We have two awesome leaders sitting ringside right now. They need our help. When we come to an event like this, not every one of us is filling our barn. Could we put one more pig or two more pigs in a pen and have the best friend come and enjoy this, have that opportunity? Because if you give somebody else an opportunity in life, they might find out they really like it. This is not a cheap game. But Dennis Wilbur, I know his telephone number. Dennis left us a few years ago, 209-482-6858. He told me, our kids, you guys let these stand. I'm sorry. Let it stand. I'm good. Sorry. Dennis told me, he goes, Chris, you can invest your money in your kids doing a project, keeping them busy, or you can pay to keep them out of jail. The only thing I want to tell you all is think seriously about that. We've had an employee shared a comment after I said that with him. He said there's 13 of us, siblings and cousins. 11 of them have not been in jail. 11 of them went to 10 years of 4-H. 2 have been in jail. 2 did not do 4-H. Take that for what it's worth. We obviously all understand the value of having our kids here. Let's share it. Sometimes all it takes is get that kid to come over. Now that little boy that Blake had come over, that was, I don't even know how old he was when he whipped your gilt real hard, and I said, if you do it one more time, I'm putting a whip on your butt. He never came back over. That's okay too. Have your disciplinarian scenarios there at the house, but let's invite people into our arena. This is still one of the best things that we can do. I promise you that if we overfill a facility, that Clay and Roy will be happy to find another pen. I promise you. That would be a great problem. And we might just help one person from maybe being a pro football player and taking his life because we give him an out to something that he really enjoys. We might keep that kid out of jail. We might give him a job opportunity that he never thought about. Think hard about that when you get ready to put that next set. This isn't the most expensive set to put on feet. I promise you these folks in North American would love to set up one more pen. That's all I have to share. Thanks to the North American, thanks NSR CPS for allowing us to be part of everything. Our reserve is second in the class that our champion came out of. Congratulations to everybody. Safe travels.
Congratulations to Garrett Hutchinson, 86-1, reserve champion, second out of class number 3. We have had a couple questions. The sale will begin approximately an hour or two after showmanship tomorrow, or 2 o'clock. We'll make announcements throughout the show tomorrow. Again, it'll be tomorrow afternoon after the conclusion of showmanship, but we'll keep everybody updated. We have online live bidding through cci.live. And again, we'll get sale orders posted in the morning. Thank you, everyone. Great show. Good night and good luck.